Hey loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Day, and if you like videos like this, please subscribe and join the lovely family. And if you have been here, which I know many of you have, thank you so much for coming back to see me. I appreciate you all. So today we are talking hair color. Oh my gosh, just saying it just puts me in a good mood, like coloring hair. And hair color is something that I have a lot of experience with. In my first loc journey, I colored my hair so many times, guys, so many times. I only had my hair for 4 or 5 years, but I could count probably on 2 hands how many times I colored my hair. Like, it was a lot. I tried every color under the sun, but today I specifically want to talk about hair color in starter locs. So I'm at this point where I really do look at some of my old pictures or other people's pictures, and I yearn for color. But there's a process in starter locs that I don't want to mess up. And hair color is a very, very delicate thing because it chemically really changes the structure of your hair. I'm not a scientist. I'm really not, but I've personally just seen the results of dyeing hair in my own loc journeys, so that's why I can say that with so much confidence. One of the biggest things is figuring out when to dye your hair. Now there's kind of like 2 struggles when it comes to starter locs. There's a side that says dye your hair while your hair is short because, you know, this is just a small portion of what your hair will be if you're gonna grow up really, really nice and long. This little piece, you know, which will be at the end of your locks, really won't matter. So some people say, you know, you can dye your starter locs now and kind of just leave it alone because it's all gonna grow out anyway. And then there's the other side that's kind of more like the health conscious, and it's like, well, you should really kind of let your locks form and come into themselves before you deal with dyeing your hair. I really get both sides of that. A part of me really feels like I should dye my hair now because this part is probably gonna end up, you know, being clipped off or trimmed if I want my hair for as long as I claim. If I do keep my locks for 15 years, this little piece of 6 months is not really gonna matter in the grand scheme of things. But then a part of me is like, I really should give my locks a chance. And for starter locs, it's so important to just set yourself up to have a healthy journey. You really should be able to just give your locks a chance, which is why this time around I have not dyed my hair at all, even though I have really wanted to. Now here's the thing, you have to be particular about what kind of dye you choose, what color you choose, and know that the color, the dye that you choose is gonna affect your hair in different ways. And I'm speaking from experience. Like I said, I don't know everything, I'm not a hairstylist, but I'm speaking from how dyeing my hair affected me in the past. All right, so I'm just gonna pick the main colors that I see people going for. Now, typically people will go for a blonde, they'll go for a red or a deep burgundy, or they'll go for a chocolate brown, or they'll go for like a black. That's typically what I see. And then we have those who are a little on the wilder side and you want like a blue or, you know, a yellow or pink. But typically those 4 kind of shades are what people fall into. So the most drying of those shades is definitely the blonde. The lighter you go, the drier it seems like your hair gets. And it may have just been me and my hair texture that plays a role into it, but I really felt like the more blonde my hair was, the drier it was. And I'll try to see if I can insert some pictures here of my hair being in that state. It was gorgeous in the summer, and it, you know, it was a pretty color overall. I felt like it grew out nicely, really pretty, but it was just very drying. Now thinking about that when it comes to starter locs, when you first have starter locs and you're just working on developing your routine, especially if you're kind of new at this is your first loc journey, I probably wouldn't recommend it because you really just kind of have to focus on health and how to take care of your hair and getting your routines together. That's just my opinion. Of course, you can go for what you want to. Would I personally go blonde? Probably not. I probably will never go for that color just because of the maintenance that comes with that. And locks are supposed to be a very low maintenance style, but you're gonna spend a lot of time working overtime for that blonde look. All right. And then we have that red tone, that beautiful red. I think that was my favorite of all, that just burgundy shades or red shades. And they're really nice. They're not too drying, The thing about burgundy and red shades are they do not last. They don't. They run. And when I say they run, I mean like if you go down and lay down on some pillows or something like that, the next morning you will probably see red dye on your sheets, red dye in your scarves. So red dye really runs in my experience. And some other lock YouTubers that I've seen say the same thing, that red dye runs. And in addition to that, red dye also, it does not last a very long time. It fades very quickly, and it doesn't fade like blonde fades. Blonde kind of fades in a pretty way that you still kind of have a color after it fades. It kind of fades into a different color. Red dye almost fades into like non-existent, or like that, like almost like an ashy brown nudish kind of thing. So what happens is you end up, if you want to keep that red color, having to dye your hair frequently over and over again to achieve that red color. That bright red or bright burgundy that you see when you first dye it is not going to be what you will see in literally a week. So that is an issue with the red. Even though it's beautiful and it's not as drying, you do have to dye more frequently if you don't want the color to fade away. The next is the chocolate browns, and I feel like that's kind of like the most reasonable, but a lot of people don't choose it because it can be a little modest, a little like, why am I dyeing my hair anyway kind of thing. Even I have gone for a chocolate brown in the past and it has been really pretty, but the chocolate brown I feel like is probably one of the safest. It wasn't very drying. It just honestly just didn't give me that pop of color that I wanted. I feel like if you are gonna dye your hair, let it be for a reason, you know? Like if you naturally have dark brown hair, I feel like going for a lighter brown isn't really worth you having to over moisturize and you kind of, you know, worrying about damaging your locks a little bit. I personally don't think it's worth it, but I say that, but I've done it before. So I don't know, brown is okay. And then black is something that I've always wanted. Now black just gives you just like a rich tone to your locks. It's not drying, not that I've seen. Most people who have dyed their locks for a really long time, different colors, at the end of their journey, they go to black and they keep it black. So overall, the decision that you make when dyeing your locks, your starter locks, please go into it knowing that your hair texture will change, meaning that your routine probably will change. Your hair will probably be a lot drier than it was before. You will probably notice that it is a little bit more difficult to retain moisture after you dye your locks. You might notice your hair looking or feeling a little bit more brittle. I want you guys to understand that before you jump in there, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't, you know, dyed my hair yet. I just want to see this time around, if I don't dye it for at least a year, how different will my hair be. And right now I don't really have problems with moisturizing it. It's kind of like, you know, flourishing on its own. So I'm kind of leaning more towards the side of don't dye your hair at first and see how it turns out. Like give it a shot, like give it kind of like a fighting chance before you go in kind of manipulating it with color and things like that. That's where I'm leaning towards right now. If you're a type of person like me and you're a do-it-yourself kind of girl and you do your hair at home, if this is your first time around with locks, your first lock journey, understand that dyeing your hair as a loose natural and dyeing your hair as a locker now is two completely different things. Remember, locks, things get trapped in them very easily. So when I did used to dye my locks, it was a very tough process because I had to make sure every speck of color to the best of my ability got out of those locks. Also think about the fact that when you dye your hair, the boxes recommend that you use conditioner. And as lockers, a lot of us do not use conditioner, which is why we have that issue of our hair being dry after we color it, because we don't condition it, you know? So it just kind of makes for a challenge when a product knows that you need something. It even puts conditioner in the boxes. It says, hey, use this. And we're like, oh, we can't really use conditioner on our locks. So back in my last journey, I would color my hair, wash it, and not condition it. And, you know, just do my regular moisture routine because I didn't want buildup. But then it was like the color was drying it. So it was just this battle, and it's just, even thinking about it is a bit much. I may be being a little bit dramatic, but I just kind of don't want to go there just yet. I've been enjoying just focusing on keeping my hair moisturized, keeping it wrapped up, you know, letting it flourish. And that's kind of just been the thing. Overall, I feel like you should do what makes you feel confident though. There's some people out there, like, I know if you didn't have hair color or if you didn't have dye, it would probably be difficult for you to make it through your starter lock journey. I was like that the first time around. My hair wasn't like this because I didn't have the same level of confidence. My starter locks were like a bright red color, and that's what got me through the starter lock journey. So if you know like you're about to quit and you just need something that'll, like, you know, to hold on to, then I would say, you know, go ahead and don't worry about it and dye your hair and do what you need to do to stick to the journey and stick in there. But if you have a little more confidence and you just want to dye your hair because you are, you know, just feeling a little wild, or you know, you're just feeling like you want to have a little fun, I would probably take another avenue, because, you know, you just really want to see what your hair will look like and what your hair will develop into without manipulation. And that's kind of what I'm doing right. So you guys, let me know your thoughts down below. When did you color your hair? If you colored your hair, if you decided not to. I'm gonna try to at least go a year. I said that I would go my whole journey this time without color, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna go a year and see how that goes, and maybe only once a year after that I will color. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel and supporting me, and I will see you in my next video.